So to our listeners who maybe haven't done a backflip or whatever, or probably it's easy to watch DarkFest footage and think it's just crazy or whatever. I would say probably the majority even of the views are probably people that think they've watched, say, that flip on the moon booter, they probably just think, well, he's crazy.
Like an Evel Knievel.
Yeah, exactly.
Just turn your brain off and have a crack.
You're just talking about, yeah, exactly. You're talking about humidity, but like for that flip, you knew it was going to be that. What do you have to do for a flip that slow?
You literally, like, I was talking to Isted about it because he's so nuts. He just does it like every run. He's just like, mate, you literally just roll your eyeballs back. So, like,
it's just a suggestion of a flip.
Yeah, because the lip's so steep and the landing's so steep. If you think about it, actually, if you jump it straight, you go from almost vertical up to almost vertical down. And if you're doing a flip, you do exactly the same, just the other way. You're almost vertical up.
Right, yeah.
You come in almost vertical down. And you don't go off a jump and lean forwards, do you, to get that? It kind of just happens. So it's actually the same in a flip that big, because I think it's like 2.5 seconds of airtime, which doesn't sound much, but it is, isn't it? And if you've already done a quarter of a flip or even half a flip on the way up, you only need to do half a backflip in 2.5 seconds. So actually, you really do absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I struggle with the most with flips is being able to slow them down. It's the thing that I talk myself out of doing them.
Right. Yeah,
because I'm like, you're going to pull too hard, you're going to over-rotate, you're going to like nail your coccyx or loop out, or it's just a crap crash to have when you chuck the bike and then you're falling backwards.
Yeah, it's almost worse over-rotating than under-rotating sometimes, isn't it?
So that, like, I've always struggled with it, and I used to try and stare at the sky.
Yeah,
that was like, even actually, I remember slowing one down at Night Harvest with you, and it was at night. And I remember staring at
on that trick jump.
Yeah. Because it was a lot of airtime, and I remember staring at the stars to try and... I sit down, first of all, to not bar shag, so you just sit down and stare at the sky for a bit, and then that's how approximate my flips are. That's how not ready I am for flipping anything at DarkFest. But, like, I find it so mad that you just literally roll your eyes back. That was like the...
Yeah, and kind of... you don't do a pop or anything. You literally just go off it and just sort of keep following the lip up with your eyes.
Wow.
But then, like, as soon as I decided to do it, it was fine. Like, I did it in the morning first thing when you have to go as fast as you can for the jump, because my biggest worry was overshooting. And then obviously the further down the landing you go, the more airtime you have. So your flip's going to keep rotating. So you're going to probably just land on your back. And that's actually exactly, how I broke my back. Going too far, landing on the back wheel, looping out the manual and landing on my back, like, without knowing. So that's kind of what I was worried about. And then, like you said, then you don't want to do too much the other way, and then you're like, then I'll probably under-rotate.
Yeah.
But actually, it's just sort of so deeply in you. You've probably done 5,000 backflips ever, and as soon as I took off, I just knew exactly what was happening. It was just really big. Just had to stay calm and wait there.
Yeah. So my fear of over-rotating on that jump that you flipped is obvious why. Let's say your theory behind the 90, you obviously thought long and hard about flipping the 90. Like, what would differ for the 90 flip? Because it's not the same thing, right?
Not at all, no. That's why it's scary, because it is 90 foot long. The jump, you're not going as high, you're just going far. And the takeoff is super mellow. So you'd really then have to give it like a full pull. And like a couple guys did do it, and they were like, you have to give it like, even though it's 90 foot, you still have to give it like a good pull. It's a big downhill bike, and it's not like a very kicky lip. I think over the years, that lip's kind of like mellowed out a little bit. So next year, we're going to build it up way steeper and make it more of like a... Because we've got the 110 now, so the 90's kind of a bit like obsolete almost, isn't it? That was actually the worst thing about building that 110. Normally the 90 is like, whoa.
The boy.
The big boy, yeah. And like everyone's like doing run-ups to it, like, oh no, right, who's going to hit the 90 first? Because it is massive. And then the 110 was there, and it just was like, oh, the 90 looks cute. But it's still the same. It's still the same. So I think next year we have to make the 90 better somehow, like make it taller, steeper, or more trickable somehow.
Did you enjoy this clip? If so, please like and subscribe. The full episode is available by hitting one of the links on the screen right now, or type The Ride Companion into your favourite podcast app. We've even put links in the show description for you. Cheers!